That's great. Yep.
There we go. All right, I will call the meeting of the Monona City Council for Monday, October 16th, 2023 to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Alder Bernstein.
Here.
Alder DePula.
Here.
Alder Holmquist. Here. I do not see Alder Moore. Acting Mayor Wood.
Here.
Alder Rademacher. Here. And Mayor O'Connor is excused.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gotcha.
All right. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the October 2nd, 2023 meeting? And we have Elaine handed out the closed session minutes. So if you want to include those in a motion, that would be good.
I move approval.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Corrections, additions? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Is there anyone here or on Zoom who wants to appear before the council for an item that is not on the agenda? I believe so. There's no public hearing, no consent agenda, no unfinished business. New business 2A, consideration of Resolution 23-10-2645, providing for the sale of $6.7 million taxable general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2023, and it's start for immediate action. Someone want to make a motion?
Motion to approve.
Do you want to suspend the rules first?
Oh, sorry. Yes. Motion to suspend the rules and approve 2310-2645.
I appreciate the efforts at efficiency, but I don't think we're allowed. I think we have to do them separately. Is there a second to take it out of
To
order?
take it out of order, I second.
Discussion. All in favor of taking it out of order, say aye.
Aye.
All right, now is the motion is in order.
I'll move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, Mark.
Yeah, so thanks for the approval, for taking it out of order. So this is the authorization for our financial advisor to start going out to the market and market this bond for approval. If we do approve it tonight, he's not looking to come back to the second meeting in November. It just starts the process a bit quicker for us. So basically what this is a TIF 5 note that needs to be refinanced. We're looking to refinance it. It's callable. So what this was, and the interest rates are fairly going to be, the interest rate of this is around 4.6 at the time, and 4.7, and so there won't be too much difference in the interest rates. What this is TIF 5, which I call Garden Circle. We did a project. We basically bought a bunch of buildings, tore them down, and then got a developer to come in. So this is just repaying that debt. So the life of this TIF has been extended because it has been a slow process of collecting the increment. And right now our debt payments that would go out to 2028, I believe, are about 1.5. The increment's about 1 million right now. So we just wanted to, for cash flow purposes, to extend the life of the loan. The goal is to spend about $1 million per month or per year in interest and principal payments with this. But this is to end up just to refinance it, just to extend the loan a little bit.
Okay, so basically it's to kind of relieve the stress on the donor districts not having to contribute so much.
You're right.
Because
What would happen if we didn't? We'd still be able, I mean, it won't touch the city books. It would be coming from another TIF to offset it. And then eventually we'd have to pay it back, and so it's just an easier way of doing it.
Okay. I would just comment or affirm what Mark was saying about the nature of this TIF. It was one that we knew from the beginning probably was not going to be a financial success in terms of, usually we get payback on the loans fairly rapidly, well in advance of what we would have to do. There were other reasons to do the project. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what Garden Circle was, but it was about half a dozen apartment buildings that had, the layout was not favorable for public safety. There were a lot of issues, police calls, drug use, firearms violations. So when there was an opportunity for the city to acquire the properties, we sort of jumped at it. We actually bought it before we had anybody lined up to develop it. So, and it worked out from a sort of social standpoint. I think it's worked out really well. Obviously, it's sometimes, you do TIFs for different reasons, and sometimes they pay off faster than others. So, anybody else have anything else on this one? All right, then all those in favor of approving the sale of these bonds signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's not a roll call, was it?
No, not
Okay. All right, motion carries. Let's go back to the agenda. Thanks, Mark. 2B, new business, consideration, also start for immediate action, consideration of resolution 23-10-2644, approval of a certified survey map for lots 5 and 6 of the Shore Acres plat, 4405 Outlook Street, from the Public Works Committee and Plan Commission.
I move to take this out of order.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of taking it out of order, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion?
I move approval.
Second.
You can take your pick.
Give it to Patrick.
All right, Doug, you want to give us the background on this one? We're
Yes,
probably, most of us somewhat familiar with it, one way or another.
thank you. So this evening, the request here is for CSM certified survey map to consolidate 2 lots into one. This is at 4405 Outlook Street. This would allow a second floor addition to be built to the property. This did receive ZBA approvals from the Zoning Board of Appeals earlier this year. There was a condition that was included that during that process the survey showed the sort of line in question. There was a condition included that building permits not be issued until such time that this has been remedied to the satisfaction of the city attorney. We have been working with the city attorney and the certified survey map. This process is further out. So the map will show the dotted line for lots 5 and 6, and you can see cut through the building, and of course the applicant will not be allowed to build across the 2 lots as is currently shown. CSM is the best way to remedy this. There's definitely a unique lot layout and dimensions to this, and there were exceptions that were granted from the land division ordinance given the existing nature of the lots, some of the challenges meeting the existing dimensions. This did go through Pine Cushion review, both at the September 25th meeting as well as the October 9th, and received a unanimous recommendation for approval, as well as Public Works Committee at the October 4th meeting as well, with the same recommendation. We have the applicant here this evening who can certainly share more details. I would be happy to answer questions as well. Thank you.
Any questions for Doug or for the applicant?
I have one for Doug. This was a unique situation, but not completely unique. There are other lots that could face this same issue. I overheard earlier you're looking at trying to get ahead of the problem. What are your thoughts?
Yes, I think it's certainly something I would like to look at. The process here, the applicant has gone through on any residential property is the same as it would be for a commercial property. So I think the level of scrutiny and sort of the public process and sort of the meetings and such, it may make sense in certain situations, existing lots and things like that, such as this example, to sort of expedite that review, and if there is, to still go to those 3 bodies, for example, to Planning Commission, Public Works, and to Council, maybe for that to be 1 meeting in each, for example, with some deference. Part of this process does still have this go out to the Viabeca consultants for review, certified land surveyor, still maintaining those touch points, but I think sort of looking at ways that this can be moved along, as was the case in this example. This often causes a delay in the building permits, and of course coming into into winter now and some challenges with that too. So people can catch it early on, it's not such a challenge, but the time element to this is certainly there. So for the most part, I would say once it has been through review, folks are pretty comfortable with that as well. So if there's a way to kind of if people are comfortable, if staff recommends it, to sort of tighten the timeline.
How comprehensive can we be on how widespread this issue might be?
I think it is most obvious when it comes through as part of a survey, if it's included as part of an application or something like that. And that was how it was called in this case. You could sort of look through probably lot by lot, reading descriptions and things like that. So this one, for example, shows part of lot 5, part of lot 6. So you could probably make some pretty well-informed guesses. And between the GIS mapping and the legal descriptions, we could probably get a sense for those. But again, with this process, it typically comes up when there's development or additions.
I just don't want people to be caught the way this applicant has been and the time delays they've had to face to recover from a fire.
Yes.
So,
Well, if it was just recovering from a fire, though, it would have been an issue because just repairing the fire damage would have been wouldn't have triggered any of this. It's the fact that the remodeling is happening and substantial modifications happening to the dwelling.
I take your point.
Yep.
But
Just to clarify.
they're probably a little overlapped, right? Because of the fire, the opportunity to do some remodeling probably surfaced. But yeah, point taken.
But yes, I would say if the process does, for residential, for example, or for simpler applications where there's not concern, there's not too many issues, it could be the sort of thing we would look at completing this. And I think a lot of the materials could sort of be put together, so that it's a little simpler. And I certainly look to work with certain applicants as well as to how we can streamline this process and make it more friendly to folks coming in as well.
Okay, thank you.
City Administrator?
Alder, I would also add to that I've actually asked Director Wood to actually, if there are cases like this, in this case, this actually would have made sense to me in my background experience, to actually just have been taken care of at a staff level. Essentially a cleanup of removing that single line. It's not affecting the outside of the parcel. If it was within certain parameters defined in the ordinance, I think there might have been a way that this could have just been an administrative review and literally taken a week to have this done. Again, because it didn't really affect the neighboring property lines, they're really all those other approvals had already been granted. This was literally an administrative cleanup of that particular, removing that line. So I've asked him to actually see if there are instances like that we may be proposing this first year for consideration. Again, we're not saying, also leave it up to the director's discretion that if he was running into some complications, that he could still say, at my request, that this still needs to go through Plan Commission and Council. So just to clarify that.
Yeah, just to have that option would be very helpful.
That's really good to know. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions, comments? I would just note that his application for a Renew Monona loan was approved at Finance tonight. So, we already have a motion, so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. There you go. Two.
Go forth and multiply.
I am pleased to hear that you guys are going to look at this for other folks.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody else to get tripped up by these 1908 lot lines.
There may be a few more out there.
Yeah. All right. We are on to reports of committees, commissions, boards, etc. Are there any updates on diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI?
Yeah, I have an update. So I'll start just with the main point people need to take away is that on November 30th, that's a Thursday, at 6 o'clock until about 7:30 p.m. here in this room, the DEIB Report Implementation Committee invites all members of the public to what will be the second listening session that has come from the city's DEIB initiatives. And the purpose is to share the work that this body has done so far, what points, what recommendations within the report that came from the work that had been done a year or so ago. What recommendations from that report have we prioritized? How are we seeing ourselves moving forward with implementation? And we also just want to give members of the community an opportunity to share their thoughts and wishes and concerns, and to be just open to those conversations. So November 30th, that's a Thursday, in this room here in the ground floor of the public library, starting at 6 o'clock. And information will be in the My Monona newsletter for this month. That'll follow up next month probably as well, and we'll be hitting a lot of other news channels.
All right.
Will it be Zoomable?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. That's a great accessibility issue, isn't it? That's something we should definitely do. We are thinking about having interpreters present.
Oh, wow.
But Zoom is a great idea. Thank you so much for bringing that up.
All right.
Just a quick one, Alder. Working on, my office is working on the new RFP for assessment services. So we have to get that contract is up this year. Just wanted to mention that under this report, one of the things we have added as a requirement is that reports and documents must be provided in Spanish upon request of the city. We'll see how that goes in the RFP. Hopefully folks are able to do that. If not, we'll at least get some feedback on having that. But we have included that into this RFP for this coming year. And then again, Leah Kimmel and myself are attending a DEI workshop tomorrow morning, sponsored by CIVMIC, our insurance provider. They have a 3-hour workshop in Waukesha that we are going to go over and partake in and see if we can grab some good ideas from. So.
Great. Anybody else? Any updates on sustainability efforts?
Nothing beyond the usual autumn pitch for Leaves Out of the Street.
Leaves out of the street. Yep.
If I could just quick add that, Alder, that is obviously getting underway. Public Works certainly wants to remind the public that it takes a long time to pick up all the leaves in the city. So if yours have not been picked up right away, just be aware that they are working their way through. I think they mentioned something about this morning about there's about 6,000 metric tons, I believe, is what the number of how much leaves, and it takes them around 8 or 9 weeks to actually pick up that many leaves.
That's a really good reminder. I think the trucks move at 3 miles per hour.
It's not fast.
There are 3 trucks, and every year somebody puts a pumpkin in their pile of leaves, and then now we have 2 trucks instead of 3, and the repairs, and so that just slows down the collection for your neighborhood. So. Yeah.
Thank you, Alder. Yeah. Absolutely. So that came up at staff meeting this morning.
Yeah.
So it was so they are beginning in earnest. You'll see them around town, but please have patience, and they will be on their way.
And it's a continuous process until the snow flies, until they can't do it because of weather.
Yeah.
Right, and obviously if everybody's looked around, it's still awful green out there, and there's a lot of leaves on trees, which probably means the weather's going to turn and they're all going to fall at once. So it's going to be even probably more of a task this year for them. So we certainly ask for everyone's patience and let us know if there's any issues. So.
All right, then we'll do committee reports, starting with Alder DeCula.
So Public Works met last week, met last week. We discussed the parking situation and continue to discuss the parking situation around, in close proximity to the high school, and decided that we were going to, in counsel from the chief, to move that discussion to public safety, and we would continue to talk about maybe traffic calming measures and that sort of thing. But we decided to have public safety take that conversation up, because it would be the police department that would enforce any parking regulations. That's about it.
All right. Alder Holmquist.
No report.
Alder Bernstein.
Not a lot. A couple meetings canceled, but library board tomorrow, and nothing more to report.
All right. Alder Rademacher.
Yeah. Landmarks is one of my committees, and it might be of interest to folks listening that, as you all know, Monona has a number of local landmarks. There are national, there are state, and there are also local landmarks. And one of the things that this body has been doing is just reviewing some of the internal documentation for the local landmarks. What do we have on file? How far back do we go? The historic background and the stories of the houses and what makes it a landmark. And there's just a lot of rich information to collect and assemble. We have started to do that for the Adolph Wagner House. That is at 4705 Tony Awatha Trail. Our staff have been really helpful at putting information together. Next, we're going to move on to what is called the Lamboli Cottage. That's on Winnequa Road. And we're so fortunate to have on the committee the woman who grew up in that home. And so she has, of course, volunteered to work on that. So it's just kind of interesting to learn some of the history around us. Also, the Willard and Fern Tompkins house is now part of the National Register for Historic Places. I'm sorry, it was nominated at the National Register, but it is already on the state registry, I should say that.
Where is that one?
That is at 110 Henwa Circle. Henwa. Yeah.
Just off of Winnequa.
Yeah.
Is it?
The lot
Yeah.
used to face Winnequa, but the
Okay.
parcel was split, so now it's off Heuna, H-E-U-N-A-H.
H-E-N-U-A-H. Yeah, and I probably am pronouncing that wrong. Yeah. And of course, as you know, last meeting we welcomed a new member to the committee, so that's wonderful to have that. Other committees, I will say, how about community media? Yeah, I just had that off the top of my head, and I didn't write it down, so now I'm drawing a blank. Shoot. Oh, I know what it was. A few of us, myself, our department head, Will Nimmo, will be meeting with the folks who are bringing the bilingual Spanish program to the community, just to make sure that they are supported in the work that they're doing. And if there are ways that we can make it easier, we want to explore what we can do. And so it's just wildly popular. We want to make sure that it continues. All right. And that's it.
All right, thank you. Parks and License Review did not meet. CDA is meeting next Tuesday. We did have a meeting of the MPO, and I just wanted to highlight one thing, that one of the bigger blocks of money that the MPO oversees is the Surface Transportation Block Grant Urban Priority Projects Fund. That was, before the infrastructure bill, was about between $7 and $11 million a year. We were anticipating, staff was anticipating it would go up to 17 million, but now that they've actually found out what the allocation is, it's 32.845 million.
Can use some of that. That'll be okay.
So, just, a heads up. I mean, and this money's not really going to go away, I don't think. It'll be eroded by inflation over time, but I don't think that Congress is going to go back and say, yeah, we're not going to spend as much on transportation projects. So, definitely something I think to bear in mind as we do eligible projects.
Alder, or Mayor, I don't know how to address you tonight. What are the qualifications? What's the list of check boxes that a city would need to meet in order to receive these funds? Do you know off the top of your head?
Not really. I mean, it has to be of some sort of the regional significance of
Right,
it
yeah.
is one thing, but don't read too much into that. Collector streets in particular. improvements, especially, and then there's things within that type of project that would make it more likely to get funded. Pedestrian safety improvements, bicycle facilities, those kind of things that would help with the scoring. And then it's driven by numbers, like how many people use the street. So, yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, the future work that will be done on Nichols
Yep,
is made possible because of
it's part of that.
part of these funds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So that's all I had. I assume, Chief, you stayed. I think Rick already. Yeah, he already. Yep.
Sorry, I came in late.
I wasn't sure. I thought you might have just stayed around so you could, catch the rest of the meeting. But.
Thank you, Council President. No report.
Motion to adjourn is in order.
Well, really, just a pitch, and then I'm available for questions if there are any. Our final K9 fundraiser is this Saturday, the Halloween 5K. I'm not sure I'm going to walk 5K with the dog, but I will be out there. Dress your dog up. It's, again, our wonderful contracted partners at Precision. They're doing all of this legwork, and they literally hand all of the proceeds over to us. And just as a reminder, all our K9 unit outside of the staffing, the officer, and the car itself, everything else is funded by donations. So we rely on the public and donations to keep that program going. And as I mentioned at the last council, I hope to expand that program. So we're really pushing this year, based on the success of the dog. So if you're out and about or want to dress up your dog or dress yourselves up, come out to Winnebago Park, starting at 10 o'clock, a little early. And it goes till, I believe, 2 o'clock. So that's that. And then really I'm here for questions. I know I talked to a couple of you related to some traffic concerns, enforcement strategies. If any of you were in and around Manila Grove High School on the 10th, you might have seen a lot of police activity. That's us just being responsive to some of the concerns that have been ongoing in and around that neighborhood. And so we certainly made ourselves known and pushed out a reminder for everyone, students and non-students, to drive safer in that neighborhoods. Questions?
And just once again, I'm just impressed with the school resource officer component of your report. And when I read about the game that the officer Wersch is playing with the students, the instead of where's Waldo, it's where's what? Yeah, it's so funny, and he's engaging these kids and growing relationships, and he's together with them on fishing. He's like organizing fishing, trips and fundraisers so they can, go fishing. And it's isn't like a snowboarding, it's something ski trips. Yeah, it's just fantastic.
Thank you. And that's, I remind him he's not a camp counselor, but he knows that. He actually takes police reports, right?
Yeah.
So this is all part of trust building.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts early, and that relationship is long lasting. And as I mentioned before, I think he's doing it's his 8th year this year, so I think he's doing a fabulous job. And so I'd like to keep him in that role as long as possible.
All right.
My compliments to Officer Hoffman for running a tight ship on the golf outing here the other day. So it was a good time, and sounds like a good amount of funds have been raised for that event. So it was really. So I don't know who was in charge of weather. Maybe question them a little bit, but other than that, he did a really nice job. So it was fun. It was very fun. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Nothing. Nope. Forget it.
Okay.
Wrong department. Yeah, I was I was down at the fire station for the open house, and I met a firefighter that spoke Spanish, and I thought that was wonderful. They have more Spanish language speakers on, but that's fire, not police. But I also know that there are Spanish-speaking officers on the police force. So.
I am working on motivating my officers to do either Spanish immersion,
That's great.
courses, or there's 4 ways in which we can pay for that.
Yeah.
I'm one of 2 upstairs, I think, that speak Spanish. Our municipal clerk does, and I do. Today I was almost used for Spanish translation, but the more we can get on board being multilingual, the better for this community.
Si se puede.
All right, thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Appreciate it. City Clerk, any report?
No report.
City Administrator?
2 quick things. Compensation study is in effect. Employee interviews have been completed. Surveys have been completed. We're looking at a draft report, hopefully in mid-November. So fingers crossed that's gone well, and seems like good reviews on nothing but positive comments so far from staff. Been a pretty good process, so excited to see some results from that. And just a reminder that we've got Committee of the Whole October 25th and October 30th for budget discussions. So just make sure that's on everybody's calendar. And that's my
What time do those start? Is it
I believe we've
back-
got them 5:30 to 9 each time. So
Okay.
there's no have to take
Will
all the time.
be served.
I'll do dinner one of those nights.
Okay, ooh, even nice, even better.
Okay.
Once again, there was 25th of October and,
And the 30th.
yes,
You should
got
have
it.
hopefully gotten
Yep,
something
yep,
from
I got it.
Director Haneker, but
Yep.
if you haven't, we'll be resending that out. So.
All right, and then item I, appointments. There's one, Betsy Parker to the Tourism Commission, effective immediately till April 2024.
I move approval.
Is there a second?
second.
Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. He is appointed to the commission.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll move.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
Jeez, you guys.
All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned. Jeez.
I have not been worried about the end of a meeting until just right there. All of a sudden it's like, uh-oh.